All right, welcome back into the show. I mean, this is Wednesday, and what are we going to? We've been talking a lot of things recently, and today basically is the Media Wednesday.
That's right,
and we're having an interesting person. That's what's been exciting about the show.
Yes, today. And I'm sorry I didn't really do a formal introduction of this guy here because I wanted him to bring it on with all of his energy and whatnot. And yes, I'm handing over the guest segment to you, but I just want to remind you, listeners, that it's the inauguration today in the US. All eyes on what's going to go on, what moves Joe Biden will make after the inauguration in just a few hours. And of course, the media has this all over, and that's the leading story today, both on the show and on global news feeds as well. And that's what prompted the whole, the role of media in business, because we saw the role that media played in what went down on January 6th with the U.S. Capitol riot, and even what happened afterwards with thousands of people losing their social media accounts, Donald Trump, being blocked across board. And so we see that the media has pulled a lot of force, when it comes to global activities, global events, whether elections, whether in the business world. And that's why I find that this particular, topic on the guest segment is very, very catchy. Take it away, Onoje.
It is. Meanwhile, over the years, the media has played an increasingly important role in the way the business conducts and talk about themselves. Now, unfortunately, many companies still haven't quite figured out how to put the media and sustainability hand in hand, which is obvious. On our guest segment today, guys, I'll be talking to a very important personality who's going to be taking us through all of that and more. We're going to be having conversations around building sustainable business with media. Joining me, guys, is Ladi Ogunseye. He is a marketing, communications, and business development professional with over 8 years of experience building brands strategically across Africa. Interesting, right? Ladi's right here with me. Hi, Ladi. Hello, Ladi. Can you hear me?
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here this morning.
Oh, good to have you on the Africa Business Radio Breakfast Connect show. How do you do?
I'm doing. How do you do too?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Okay, I really am excited to hear more about your story and how you got started. So, I want to give you a chance to tell us properly what you're into, what you've been up to, and what your media firm is about.
Yeah, so I started out as a student. While I was a student, I was very much interested in journalism and how the media shaped stories, and how, especially the new media at the point in time, which was just evolving, started shaping out conversations, shaping out opinions, and shaping out building psychology of the consumers, the African consumer, and which was what encouraged me so much that at that point in time, even though I was a student, I was invested in learning a lot about digital communications, so much that even after I left the university, I started out working with the digital publishing organization, which was called CP Africa at the point. And we were basically just doing journalism as regards developmental projects and developmental happenings across the continent, Africa. And so for me, way back in my career, I've decided that my focus is in really learning about consumer insight and how a lot of the media narratives that we're setting shapes opinion, shape ideas, shape consumer psychology, and shapes consumer perception of brands and products as it is. And right now I work with Sterling Bank, Nigeria, as a marketing manager, where I lead marketing efforts for digital and retail products, basically in retail and consumer banking.
Awesome. How did you get started? I'm really curious. I got to know that you're actually a business developer, and also a consultant. How did you get started on business development?
Yeah. So for me, how I got started on business development is that at some point in my career, while I was working with a smartphone development, smartphone technology brand, Technomobile, in Lagos, Nigeria, a friend of mine reached out to me based on the knowledge and the software that I've acquired over the years in the industry. In setting up a business, he sought my support and my expertise in setting up our 3 businesses with some technical partners that were actually foreigners. And there were quite a number of challenges that were experienced in the setting up of these businesses that were in 3 different sectors. There was finance, there was smartphone technology, and there was also a online retail e-commerce store. So there were quite a number of challenges in partnerships, in strategic partnerships, in in the setting up of the business and getting it in, and even in the setting up direction and the go-to-market for these businesses. So when owing to these experiences, I saw that this is something that a lot of businesses need. A lot of businesses want to start up, they want to get their feet off the ground, but they didn't have the know-how of it. They don't have the direction in which to go. They don't have the how of it. Many of them just carry the why and they'll carry what they want to do, but the how. They want to go about the development of their business, the setup of their business, the running of their business in the country. So something that a lot of business owners.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll return. We'll get back to the guest segment there, and I'll leave you in the hands of how it is done. We'll be right back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of How It Is Done. Today, we'll be talking about work productivity using Slack communication. Break out of the inbox and change the way that you work with other organizations. Companies have found out that the speed and efficiency of communicating in channels makes them more effective and builds stronger relationships. Slack is a proprietary business communication platform developed by American software company Slack Technologies. Slack offers many IRC-style features, including persistent chat rooms organized by topic, private groups, and direct messaging. So, with the few points I have, I'm going to show you how to get started with Slack Connect. Number 1, create the channel. Click on the plus button next to the channels in your sidebar. Name the channel and click on Create. Number 2, send the invitation. Follow the prompt to share the channel outside your workspace. Send your partner an email invitation right from Slack, or copy the link provided and email the invitation directly. Number 3, wait for your partner to accept. Stick the kettle on. When your partner clicks on the link, they will be taken back to Slack, where they can accept the invitation and set up the channel on their end. Number 4, get admin approval. Depending on your settings, the invitation may be sent to an admin on each team for approval. Admins can manage channels invitation by clicking on their workspace. Name, administration, manage shared channels. I believe with these few points and these few steps, you will understand how to set up your own Slack Connect. Until next time, stay tuned to Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
All right, guys, welcome back into the show. I mean, we were having almost like a boom time with Ladi before the network decided to, interrupt our peace and our fun. Meanwhile, there's nothing to worry because Ladi is very much in the studio still. He's that faithful. So just in case you're just joining in, Ladi, like I mentioned earlier, is a marketing, communications and business development professional with over 8 years of experience building brands strategically across Africa. Now, the network went a bit saga, and he was making some valid points, which I hope we were able to cue in. But I'll just, because of time, just move right into the next question I have so we can, get things complete before we wrap up the show. Ladi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so obviously, I mean, this is almost like a cliche. 2020 has been such a crazy year, and some of that part is almost like extending to 2021, which we're hoping it doesn't. Right. So, the media has evolved over the time, over 2020, because a lot of organizations resorted to using Zoom and other devices to get operations going, and a lot of media agencies, mostly podcast and free media, saw a boom in engagement. So as a practitioner, as a someone who is like a professional and also a practitioner, are you expecting this to continue? And if yes, how long do you think that would last?
Okay, so the thing is, here's the thing. I was speaking on the radio show yesterday, and I said, and I mentioned that everyone should brace up for a new normal that we're currently in, and the new normal is going to last. Is going to last. Is not going to be a close up. What we would have, it would be an hybrid society where we adopt media channels to communicate, to reach out, to engage each other and whatnot. We see nowadays that a lot of people are having weddings via Zoom, Skype, and other channels. And this is not going to end anytime soon. What we'll just have is that we would have some people be in the wedding and some people be on Zoom because they are not able to be physically present at the wedding. So what would have in so when people say when do you think this would end? I actually do not think this would end. More or less, like I think that this will continue for a longer time, a longer period. This is the new phase. This is the new phase that we're in, and we just have to embrace it and find workarounds for it, and find ways to live with it, and also and catch up and be ever relevant in the new normal that we're in, because the media channels that have evolved during this time, more than ever, we have a lot of adoption and use for new media channels.
I'm telling you.
And interestingly, even TV has even picked up as a media channel during
for
this time.
Virtuals,
and it's simply because more people are staying at home, more people are doing remote working, more people are working from their comfort of their homes. So this is the new normal for us as individuals, as a society, and we as professionals understand that this is what we need to live with. This is our new reality.
Exactly.
So the idea that it will end sometime soon isn't exactly something that is going to happen. What we would have is a society where we have these new media channels on the rampage or on the rise and in use, and we have the existing traditional channels, traditional media channels still in use. So it's just going to be an hybrid use of media channels going forward. Very
true. I honestly feel like it has come to stay, because I personally, it was during the lockdown, during the pandemic, the intense lockdown, I got to know that there were others, several platforms that someone can use to communicate aside the regular Zoom and the rest of them. Well, you've been in the business for almost 8 years now, which is almost like a decade for me. So what would you say the role the media has played, what role do you think the media has played in the evolution of business over time, using the challenging business climate of 2020 as the case may be?
So the thing is, the media has really played a significant role, a very huge and significant role. You see brands like Zoom, their stocks went up by 100% at the beginning of the pandemic, because there was a lot of communication on media channels about how people should start using products like Zoom to communicate, to have meetings, to have conferences, to have seminars, to have webinars, trainings, and another engagements that would have been physical in the very first place. And you see that the media has amplified conversations around these brands. There's also a recent one where people were migrating from WhatsApp to Signal as a means of personal communication and personal messaging communication. And this migration that we saw happen over the past week was something that was heavily driven by the media. You had the richest man in the world even talking about it, posting a tweet and saying, download Signal now and migrate from WhatsApp. So endorsing that, use a channel that encourages privacy as against the other channel which doesn't encourage privacy. So the media has contributed very largely to the development of businesses. Even the richest man in the world right now, Elon Musk, he has used the media a lot to drive up interest, conversations, and a lot of investment to his business. With the likes of Tesla, the likes of businesses, a lot of other businesses that he has that he's building, SpaceX and amongst others. So you would see that the current state of, if you look at the top 10 richest billionaires right now in the world, a lot of them have used the media to drive up their business. A lot of them we have come to know them that they are big billionaires that have sprung up out of new media. They have invested in new media, and then they are reaping the rewards. So it goes to show you that in this generation that we're in this time, in this period that we're in, a lot of businesses are heavily reliant on the success or the failure of the media, and a lot of businesses that we have come to know them as a result of the new media channels that are existent, that have sprung up during this time. So the media has come to play a large role, and that is hugely significant, and it will keep playing it. It's like I said earlier, it's a new normal for us. We would not expect that. The business landscape as we used to know it would remain the same. Recently, a popular billionaire in Lagos, in Nigeria, we saw that he had a media scandal which affected his shares, his share worth. 2 weeks or over 1 week or thereabout. So the media has come to stay, and it is playing a huge role. We all need to embrace this. You find that even recently, also a popular bank in Nigeria, their shares dropped as a result of a scandal that broke out for their managing director on the media space. So we keep seeing this case
every now and then, exactly.
And the world beyond.
That's very true. I mean, we can never underestimate the power of media. It's either it's doing really good or it's doing very bad, right? So I don't know. Even with all the hits and misses of 2020, a lot of companies and businesses have been unable to place the media and sustainability hand in hand. That's almost like a tough one. In what way would you say these businesses are missing the point?
Yeah, I think that it's important that I mention when it comes to media and sustainability, it's important that everyone knows, that a lot of business owners know that sustainability isn't just a buzzword. It's a concept. It's a philosophy that as a business owner you need to build into the vision, mission, and objectives of your business. So at the point of starting your business, at the point of conceptualizing your business, you need to build sustainability into it at that point. And that is the missing link for a lot of businesses. You find businesses who are around building businesses, and then you now consider media sustainability at the end of it. So it's a philosophy that you begin with at the cradle, at the beginning, at the source, at the origin, at the point where you say that, let us build this thing. So at that point is the point where you start building sustainability into your business. At that point, at that point of cradle, you find that as a business, it grows with you. And when you begin to expand, it expands with you. When you begin to grow, when you begin to scale, when you go at scale, you see for a lot of businesses in Africa and even beyond.
Very true. Okay, that's some valid points right there. Identifying this can be, you said really keywords that actually got me, and I hope someone is out there listening, even though the network is trying to get in the way, but we will not let it, and I hope we'll be able to cover all that I have here before we get to miss you again. Now, identifying these media channels is just one part of the equation. In fact, I personally think it is easy part. Businesses would also need to deal with the, engaging the target audience, and this is even more challenging. As a communication and business development professional, how can these businesses strategically engage with their brands?
So, in the new normal, I keep saying it, and I'll keep saying I'm a very big advocate of this. In the new normal, businesses need to evolve beyond the traditional means of communicating with their consumers, with the consumers and with their customers. Nowadays, the consumers have a lifestyle. You as a business owner, businesses need to understand the lifestyle of their target audience and the lifestyle of the average consumers. I always emphasize that businesses pay keen attention to what their consumers are doing which media channels their consumers are consuming, and what type of content that their consumers are consuming on these media channels. It's important that as a business you understand this. Once this is like the baseline, this is like the framework which you work with, which you build upon your business communication ethics, your business communication guidelines, your business communication direction for your business. So when you understand that this is the kind of this is the media channel which my customers are sitting on, are consuming content on, and you now dig further to understand the kind of content that they are consuming on these media channels, it is then at that point you now see what tone of communication would fit into this media channel and into this kind of content that my consumers are consuming. Because at this point in time, you want to ensure that your communication is inbound, which means that you want to attract your consumers to your content. You want to engage your consumers on your content, because a lot of consumers these days do not want you to advertise to them, quote and unquote. But they understand when you speak their language. They understand when you speak their tone. They understand when you resonate with what they're going through. You see communications from brands, and then you think to yourself, oh, this is me right here. I can see myself in this communication. And the consumers need to be able to see themselves in their communication.
Exactly.
So gone are the days when you decide for the consumer. These days, the consumers decide the communication that businesses would speak to. Mm-hmm. So, but one key thing is that not all trends are enabled for jumping on, and that's one key thing that a lot of businesses miss out.
Exactly.
You want to communicate, you want to talk communication, everything that is out there. No, that is where you need to do your research as a business. Businesses need to do a lot of research, because in the new normal, I keep saying that in the new normal, a lot of us need to unlearn what we have learned before, and we learn
to pick a new one.
The ethics, the ethos of the new normal. Exactly. When it comes to communication, a lot of us need to unlearn what we have learned before. Sure. A lot of the things that we have learned in business school do not apply to the new normal.
Exactly.
Quite a bunch of them applies, but we need to learn the new normal, the new normal communication strategies, new normal communication ethos, new normal communication direction. For a lot of businesses, and that is the secret of unlocking communication with consumers in the new normal.
Exactly. That's very true. I hope someone is listening and they're willing to unlearn what they learned like before and pick up the new normal and go with the flow. Now let's talk about the government regulating media, Ladi. You've been in this profession for quite a long time. I know you should know. I mean, so you should be able to give us some, points where you stand when it comes to government regulating media, especially digital media. It's a slippery slope between, digitalization and censorship, right? So take, for instance, what's going on with the US with, Trump's social media accounts and Zoom and some other 7,000 other accounts following the US Capitol riots. So what are your thoughts on digital media? Where do you stand concerning that?
Okay, so for me, I believe that the digital media is self-regulated, and when you start to try to externally influence or regulate digital media, you find that the human error comes into play, and which is something that even the founder of Twitter posted about recently, which he said, they may have made an error in judgment in the suspension of President Donald Trump's Twitter account. Mm-hmm. So you would find that when I say the media is self-regulated, you find that when people say things that are abruptly out of place, you find people already right then and there reprimanding them and telling them that this is out of line, you should take it down.
True. That's very right.
And then you find that people themselves have formed a movement to say that this is out of place, take it down. So there's more action in regulating the kind of content that even people put out. So the media, when you find that you put the power of regulation media into the hands of one person or the other, what you find as Nigeria, because what you find is it opens it up to abuse. You find that a minister can then decide that this person criticized my government, because this person has criticized this government, it means that this person is liable to go to 6 months imprisonment or 12 months imprisonment. But it doesn't work like that, because like something we say in local parlance, we say that the social media has turned everybody into a journalist.
Exactly.
Everybody now has the power to investigate stories and come up with facts and findings and put it on the space. So
exactly.
you find that gone are the days where, while you're investigating the story, you contact the organization and say, I'm following up a story concerning the theft or concerning the mismanagement.
Nobody does that anymore, actually.
And then the corporate comes ahead, or the PR.
That's true.
Tells you that, oh, please, let's kill this story. Can we give you something to kill this story? These days, you find out something about an organization, you put it on the internet. So everybody has become an investigative journalist as a result of social media. And one thing it does, as much as when people see it from the cons angle, I just know that evidently they have a cynicistic agenda, or they have a sinister agenda against the media. But because the pros outweighs the cons. Because like I said earlier, when you begin to control the media space, what you do is you begin to shape the psychology of the people. You begin to shape the psychology of the consumers, or even the users themselves. The government can decide, just what we recently heard, that Uganda banned social media access for its users. This is the kind of thing that happens when you decide to regulate social media. So, but when you find out that the media space itself, the origin of the media space itself, is to restrict is to remove all limits, is to remove all boundaries, is to remove is to make our communications as limitless, as boundaryless as possible, and it opens up everybody to the world. I can connect with the Seth Godin who is in the US from Nigeria. Yeah, I can connect with Elon Musk who is in the US from Nigeria. Recently, a Nigerian artist posted a tweet asking people to choose between and Elon Musk, a dinner with Elon Musk, and even Elon Musk himself replied that tweet. Now, I did for this kind of appointment or what have you, but this is him who has been able to send out a message to Elon Musk from the comfort of his home, either in Warri or thereabout, or in Delta State. And Elon Musk is replying from the United States.
Exactly.
That is the power
of media.
The media has
exactly. It is.
New media, digital media has created for us. It has created a boundaryless world. I tell people these days that the way new media works, you can connect with anybody
from anywhere.
You so desire to wish.
Exactly.
You so desire to meet.
It is.
You can connect with anybody. A lot of people get opportunities. It will shock you to note that the second job offer that I got in my career, I actually got it from social media.
Ooh.
So I got it from someone who I connected with on social media. So it goes to show you that the power that social media connects. So when the government decides that we want to start regulating it, especially the Nigerian government, which we know that it can be a lot of human direction and human influenced policy making, and not developmental influenced policy making, you find that this is just because of sinister agenda. So my own stance is I always say that I was a campaign I led at some point that I say no to the social media bill because I find that it's just to witch hunt people who are against the government of the day. But one thing people don't realize that I keep saying to people in government, is that power is transient. Today you are in government. Tomorrow you may no longer be in government.
Exactly.
So the rule which you have set to victimize those who are not in government today, that same rule can be used to victimize you tomorrow. You never can tell. So instead of that, why not set rules that are developmental in process, rules that are national policies that successive governments would use to develop the country? Why not focus on developing the country as against trying to witch hunt people who are criticizing the government?
Well, that's really true.
So for me, that's my stance.
Exactly. That's cool. I mean, it's so good to hear from your own point of view, and you made so much, sense from all that you've said. Thank you so much, Ladi, for joining us today on the show. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be in here. I do look forward to more meaningful and contributory engagement with Africa Business Radio.
Great. I am really excited to know that you're even available for us for even more conversations. Thank you so much, buddy, for coming on the show.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. So you're still listening to the Africa Business Radio Breakfast Connect show, and I've been speaking to Ladi Ogunseye, a marketing, communications, and business development professional with over 8 years of experience building brands strategically across Africa. So if you've been listening, I hope you got all that we've said on this segment. And yes, we now know the power of media and how we can affect either positively and negatively, maybe. Well, moving on is our startup corner. So I hope you stay tuned to not miss out on anything. Have a wonderful moment with us.